Walk through how we put the pump together that we use to dispense our fly media. We have the housing, threaded sleeve, piston, cylinder, molded gasket, the nozzles, the weights, springs, clamp, the end nozzle, and then you'll need a flat tip screwdriver and the wrench, and then we have the hoses. First thing you're going to do is take the housing and the molded gasket. You're going to put the molded gasket into the housing. Make sure it's centered in there. You're going to take the cylinder, and you want to make sure when you put the cylinder in, you want to put it in the right way. So one end has a beveled end on it. It's a bit of an angle. The other end is flat. You want the angled end in first, sitting on top of the gasket. Like that. You're going to take the threaded sleeve, tighten it, snug. And when you're tightening it down, I like to hold the cylinder in place. So I just kind of grab the whole thing like that. So make sure when you're turning it, it's not, the cylinder itself isn't turning because it could damage the gasket. And you take the piston, but before you put the piston in, you want to lubricate the gaskets to reduce friction. So a little bit of Vaseline here, and put it on the gasket. You will notice that you didn't put enough on here when you start pumping and you hear some friction, like a rubbing noise. Not a huge deal, but it is nice to reduce the friction if you can. So put it in there, and we'll go ahead and put the bottom and top nozzles on. So you have the top and bottom nozzle pieces, and you want to make sure obviously you put these on in the right order. So the way they're going to go is you want to put, this will be the bottom one. You can see the threads on the top here. Take the weight, point it down, drop it in, and then screw it on. Finger tight's fine for now. And same thing with the top one. So the top portion is going to point up, and you have the second little piece here, and that's where the weight for the top one's going to go. You want to make sure that you put this in the right way as well. The wider diameter compared to the bottom is where you're going to put that weight. You drop that in, screw it on, and the same thing with the top nozzle. So snug tight. And when you tighten down the bottom and top nozzles here for the piston, you want to make sure that you don't tighten them down too much to where you get a gap in the gasket. And it's okay if it pushes out a little bit. You'll know if it's gone too far because when you start pumping you'll get air bubbles. So kind of look real close here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a big gap there. That's going to let air leak in. So we need to back it off. Some of these gaskets are quite pliable. So you want to be careful. And you're always, usually what I'll do is I'll just do them snug, slightly snug, so they're not gaping. And if you need to tighten them down a little more, just give them a little bit more of a turn, something like that. So we'll try that and see what happens. I'm still getting a little bit of a gap there. We'll see if that works. Just doing it that way for now. Alright, and then you want to lubricate the bottom and top nozzles here just to make it easier to get the hoses on. So I just take my finger and put a little bit of Vaseline on there. Same thing with the end nozzle. You want to put a little bit of lubrication on there just to make it easier to put the hose on. The end nozzle is in 2 pieces. Just screw it on. Just hand tighten it, usually works just fine, what you need. And we'll put the hoses on. So you've got 3 clamps and a spring. So this longer hose is the one you use to put the end nozzle on. First thing, take the spring, put it on one end, one of the clamps on the end. Make sure the clamp is all the way to the edge of the hose, and then you can just slide it on like that. Push the spring down. And then the other end, you're going to have another clamp. Put that on, and then the nozzle. The last clamp is going to be for the shorter hose, which goes actually into the media. Just put the spring on there. Slide it on like so. Alright. Then you're going to want to tighten down the clamps. Same thing as with the bottom and top nozzles on the pump itself. You can just do them snug. If you end up getting air bubbles as you're pumping, you can just give them another turn. And there you go.